Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. I hope you're having a great day. My name is Eric and I'm glad you could be here because today we're going to be making a Filipino style of sausage called Longganisa. Longganisa comes in a lot of different varieties. There's the sweeter version called Longganisa Jamonado, and then there's the salty and savory version known as Longganisa de Recado. And when I was doing my research for this particular sausage, I honestly say I could not settle on one particular style. And so I thought it would be fun to take the Longganisa Jamonado and the Longganisa de Recado and fuse those two together to end up with a salty, sweet, savory version of a Longganisa. Let me show you how we made it.
This Longganisa is a 100% pork sausage, and we're going to be using 30% fat with 70% meat. So I'm using back fat and lean pork for this recipe. And the reason I'm using those cuts is because it was on sale at my butcher's. So if you want to use, fatty pork shoulder or Boston butt or whatever, that would be a great cut to use as well. And all I did was process my meat and fat into small strips, small enough to fit into my grinder head. And so we're going to pop that into the freezer, and this is what it now looks like as it's coming out of the freezer. It is partially frozen, and that's exactly what I want. I want this meat very, very cold so we don't smear any of the fat. So I'm just going to go ahead and take this meat and fat, stick it into our grinder on a number 6 plate, and grind it up. I'm going to place that back in the freezer while we take a peek at our spices. We're going to start off with a little bit of salt, and we're going to use some black pepper, and then we're going to come back with some smoked paprika. This is a heavy garlic sausage, so we're going to add a lot of minced garlic, some soy sauce. This is light soy sauce, and we're also going to add some brown sugar. You can definitely adjust the sugar depending on how sweet you like this sausage, and for the last 2 ingredients, we're going to add cornstarch, which is going to aid in the texture, and we're going to add some encapsulated citric acid. This is going to bring that sourly, tangy note to this sausage without us having to add vinegar. So we're just going to add that encapsulated citric acid right at the very end of this recipe. And it's now time to mix all of our ingredients together. So my meat is re-chilled, which is incredibly important. So let me just take the temperature so you can see for yourself. We want this in the low 30s before we mix it, and it looks like we are right there, 30 degrees. So no problem there. We're gonna go ahead and get this thing mixed. We'll add our spices and then our cornstarch. And once our mix gets tacky and we're just about done mixing, we'll add that encapsulated citric acid. Okay, so I've mixed my meat, and when I grab a little handful of it, it's very sticky. And this is the time when we add our last ingredient, the encapsulated citric acid. This ingredient is added to the last 30 or 60 seconds of mixing, and we're only mixing it well enough to incorporate. And as soon as we're done mixing, it's going to go straight into a casing, and then we're immediately going to cook it. If you want to know more about encapsulated citric acid, check out episode 11 from this series, where we talk about what it is, what it does, how to use it, the benefits, all that really great stuff. Okay, our meat has now been mixed with its ingredients. This smells fantastic. You've got the brown sugar, the soy sauce, and it's now time to go ahead and pop this into a casing. We're going to start off by lubricating the horn with a little bit of water. We're using a 30-32 millimeter hog casing from the sausage maker. And remember the little trick: if your casing can easily flow from front to back without any problems, that means you have enough lubrication on the horn, and it means that you're using the right size. If it sticks in any way, you might want to consider reducing the size of your horn or adding a little extra water before you put the casing on it. So let's go ahead and get that into its casing. We're going to tie these off into some great little sausages, and then we're going to cook them up and see what they taste like. There's a lot of different ways to cook this sausage, but this particular method seems to be one of the more popular methods. And all we're doing is we're putting our longanisa in a skillet with a little bit of water. I think I've got a half a cup of water. We're going to cook this on a medium low. It's just going to gently simmer, and a couple things are going to happen. The water is going to reduce. The fat will start to render out a little bit, and the sugars in this recipe will start to caramelize, and that's what you're seeing, sort of a caramelization of the sugars mixed with the fat, creating this really nice syrupy sauce. And I know it looks like we're wreaking havoc on our skillet, but this actually cleaned up very easy. So once we're done, this is what our longanisa looks like. We've browned the top and the bottom. We've got this really nice fatty, sweet, and slightly savory sauce that's created a glaze over all of our sausages. So I'm going to go ahead and just separate these and give one a little slice so we could take a look at what it looks like in the center. And the slice looks great. It's smooth. When I give it a little squeeze, it's nice and juicy. Let's eat one.
Okay, now it's time to try our version of the longanisa, and it looks great. It's juicy, not quite as juicy as some of our other sausages because we cooked it a little bit longer and some of the fat rendered out, but because it rendered out and it cooked down, it almost created this caramel as the sugars started to break down, and that coated the sausage. So, you know, the sausage itself is quite sticky, but it's got a beautiful color and a beautiful aroma. It actually smells like a really nice, like barbecue sauce. It's strange. Garlicky, smoky barbecue sauce. Okay, let's give it a taste. The casing looks great. I mean, it's adhered to the meat. It's nice and tight. And so here we go. Longanisa. You know, it's definitely on the sweeter side of sausages, but it's strange because the sweetness is not so overwhelming, and I think it's partially balanced with the saltiness and then the slight tanginess that we've got. Overall, I gotta say, this is a very interesting sausage. It's sweet, it's garlicky, it's tangy, it's got this, you know, like barbecue, caramel, smoky toffee, you know, thing going on. This is the third time that we've made this sausage, and the first two times in the recipe I added vinegar, and I just did not like the texture after it was cooked. And so this was a great improvement with the addition of encapsulated citric acid. I've got to be honest, I've never had a longanisa of any variety, and so I'd love to actually try an authentic longanisa to compare, you know, the flavors and more specifically the texture of the meat, because in the Philippines they use vinegar, and vinegar normally wreaks havoc on sausages. And so there you have it. I kind of like it. I'd like to experiment with different things to eat it with, maybe some eggs and so on and so forth. If you're familiar with longanisa, do me a favor, in the comment section below, do your absolute best to explain what it's supposed to taste like, the mouthfeel, the texture of the meat. I would just love to know. So thanks a lot for watching. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. If you liked this video or found it entertaining in any way, a great big thumbs up would be helpful. And if you're new to our channel and you liked what you saw and you want to see more, be sure to click that subscribe button and that notification bell. We're uploading a brand new video every day through the month of October. I don't want you to miss a single episode. Thanks for being here. See you tomorrow.